In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to model a book in Blender. So first, don't delete the cube. Before coming up to do this tutorial, I've already made my own measurements, and it would be nice for you to follow this measurement so you have the exact same thing I'm having over here. Alright, so first thing first, you have to resize your cube to this measurement. On the x-axis, resize it to 0.12 meters. On the y-axis, resize it to 0.14 meters, and on the z, 0.01 meter. Cube will be now so small, so what you need to do is, it's still selected, just click on the period key to zoom into it. Alright guys, so after having this, let's press 7 to go to the top view, and we are going to make this. Alright, so we are going to make this side open parts. So before doing anything further, it would be nice for you to apply your scale, because if you come over here and check on your scale, you see your scale has been reduced. So click on Ctrl A and scale to set all of them to 111 uniformly. Go to edit mode, then click on 3 to change it to the first select mode. Okay, so we are going to get the top and the bottom parts of our diary from the cube. Alright, so clicking on the top and bottom part, hold on Shift D to duplicate it, and right click to return it back to where it was duplicated from. Then click on P to separate by selection. So now if you go back to object mode, you are going to have these two different objects, this one and then this one, which is going to act as the cover. Alright, so now what else you need to do here is click on the middle one, this part, then go to top view, which is here, and then come to this corner, hold on Shift and right click to snap your 3D cursor to that point. Okay, so now come over here to this transform orientation and set the pivot to 3D cursor. What this does is that if you now scale this, instead of scaling it from the center, it's scaling it from this 3D cursor. Alright, so you see what this is doing right here. So now what we want to do is go to top view and click on Alt Z to go to X-ray mode. With that middle part still selected, click on S. So you see the gaps that it has given the other parts, which is going to serve as the top part of the diary. Alright, so now this is what you have. You can also click on Alt S Z again to go out of that X-ray mode. Most diaries, they don't have this bending here as opposed to other books. There are some books that has bendings like this, alright, but most diary doesn't have. But if you want to do this, you can still do it. Alright, if you want to do this, it's just so simple to do. Click on the middle part and let's go to local view by clicking on the slash button, / then click on this. That'll take you to edit mode. Then add loop cuts around here, much of it. Let's say you can go with 21. Alright, and after that we need to select just one edge. Alright, then go to front view and then turn on proportional editing, then change the pivot from 3D to bounding box center. Alright, so now let's move this. Click on G and then click on X to move it along the x-axis. Let me show you what this does. The radius of this is too big. So we have to scroll down on mouse. Okay, so now we can have something like this. Alright, because the more the radius, the more influence it is having on what we are scaling or working on. So let's go deep close, and we have our H still selected, G and X. Let's bring down the radius so you see what this is going to give to us. So you see, you can make it like this, you can make it be like this, and you can even go artistic. Alright, you can make it be like this, you can even pull it out to be like these big books. Now you get the idea. So you can just have it like this, alright, and still continue working on it. It's still going to look like a book to you. This actually looks like a textbook actually, but the diary modeling here, it doesn't have this curvature. Alright, so we are just going to keep everything straight. Okay, so let's press on Ctrl Z and then go back. So now we have this, but what we can do here currently is go out of the local view and then come over here, take this back to 3D, press 7 and scale this along the y-axis to cover up a little part of it. So now we have this. Let's separate the top part, give it some solidify modifier, giving it some thickness. Alright, so that's the top part. It has already given itself the thickness, but it's not what we want. We are going to set our own. Let's give it 0.0005. All right, this is okay. Let's add a bevel modifier because it's not going to be this too sharp. All right, so let's increase the segment to 2 and reduce this to 0.005. Let's go back to the other view, and this is clipping through and we don't want this. Let's go to the view mode to work on that. Set your clip start to 0.001 and set this to 10,000. So click on the top part and shade smooth. You can also do same here. Just add a bevel modifier to this book, increase it to 3 and then reduce this a little because books are not razor sharp. What we need to do now is to add spiral holders that pierce through our diary all through, and we need to do that with a circle. So let's add a circle. Our circle now is too huge, so let's scale it down. Scale it one more time, then be in front orthographic view. Rotate it along the x-axis by 90 degrees and still scale it down. Position it where we have this, and this is nice. We are okay with this. So go to the item mode, see the rotation and look at the scale. Apply the rotation and the scale so everything is uniform. All right, so what else you need to do here is come here and convert this to a curve. Then come over to the object data property of the curve and go to geometry and increase the depth to 0.004 and just test run it. And this is too huge for what you are working on. Make it 0.0004. all right, so this is preferable. Then increase the resolution to 8 to make it a little more smooth, and then come over and shade it smooth to see what we have. All right, then convert it back to a mesh. Okay, so after converting it to a mesh, what you need to do is add the subdivision surface modifier to make it more smooth, and you can choose to increase this to 2. All right, so we now have a beautiful looking ring here. Go to top view and move it along the y-axis and come over to the modifiers tab and add the array modifier. The relative offset is at x, so if you keep on increasing this, you're going to have this in repetitions along the x-axis, but this is not what we want. We want it to be along the y-axis. So go to x and click on 0 and go to y and click on 1, and now there are two tides together and it's going the opposite direction where we don't want it to be. We want it to be -1 coming downwards. So now you get it, but this we need a space between them, so we need to increase this factor from -1 to, let's say, -2 to see what we have, and this is still too little. All right, so we are going to work on something. You can play with this value to see something that suits what you want to design. Okay, let's say -12.5 is the due, and after having that equal spacing between them, you can keep on increasing this to fit your diary. All right, so go to top view and see what you have. All right, this is looking pretty much well. You can still adjust this along the y-axis, and let's turn on the cavity and the shadow so we can see what we are working on. All right, so now this is what we have, but we have something missing. First, we need to include a boolean modifier to have a cut through our diary where the ring freely stays. All right, so we can easily do that by bringing in a cube. Shift A to bring in a cube. It's too big, just scale it down. Click on the period key to go down to it and go to top view, take it up to the y-axis. The scale is still at the 3D cursor. Take it to bounding boxing, then scale this, move it along the x-axis to be at where it begins to pierce through the book. Now scale the cube in x-axis and move it down. Make sure the cube passes through the top part of the book, the middle part, and then the bottom part of the book. Okay, so you can have a nice cut around it. All right, now apply the scale of the cube and then click on the top part of the book and go to the modifiers tab and add a boolean modifier. Then select the book. Alright, select the book as the object. Alright, so now we have these weird shading issues, but we are going to come back to this. Let's just have the space first, which has been cut through the boolean. Select the cylinder, go to the object property and go to viewport visibility and change the display as option to bounce. All right, so now you can see through the cut at the top and the bottom parts, but not in the main body of the book. So to see the cut through the main body of the book, click on the main body of the diary, then go to the modifiers tab and add the boolean modifier. Click on the picker and come over here and pick on this Q. Alright, so now you are seeing through the book too this time around. Alright, from what we have here now, what we need to do is select the boolean and scale it a little along the x-axis so you can have the ring showing through the cut. Move it along to the x-axis. Alright, we now have that. Scale it more along the x-axis because you don't want any part of the ring to pierce through the book. Alright, so scale this along the x-axis a little more and move it along the x-axis. Alright, let's go to top view and see what we have there. Okay, move this along the x-axis. Alright, so now we have this. Let's work on the weight shading. Shade this flat for the main time. Why this is happening is because that part of the book is passing through the face of the top part of the diary. What we need to do here is to select the middle part and scale it along the z-axis a little. So now we don't have that weight shading anymore. Cut is come over here, select it and add the array modifier and move, let it be along the y-axis and change the x to 0 so it will be in line. The spacing is too much, so we have to scale it down to fit what we have. Okay, let's say minus 3.65. Yeah, we have uneven spacing here. Okay, so let's work on this. Yes, minus 3.7 works. Alright, so if you are following the exact same thing I'm doing, make sure you use minus 3.7. so from here you can now increase the number of counts, alright, to fit all the rings that are spaced through the book. Okay, so now you have your diary over here. Alright,